This is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
We all be is on the hell on the one and only, the incomparable lawyer extraordinaire, Brother GavIN Richard, with his perspective and important information regarding the current Bill Cosby sentencing phase of the Bill Cosby drama. How you doing today, sir?
I'm hanging in there, Ron.
Yeah, we all hanging there like the hanging Chad stuff back in 2000 in Florida. We've been
or hanging Chads on ballots.
Yeah, or hanging black man. You know, and, black man always used to hang it.
Well, we got that going. Yeah, we got that going on right now, man.
Yeah, so tell us about what your thoughts about this Bill Cosby stuff. I know we talked about this before, but I'd love to have your perspective because you have such a unique perspective. Because you're a fan, you're a stand-up comic, but also you're a lawyer with legal understanding and expertise as well.
Yeah, well, just watching the whole thing, and I'm sure a lot of black people who, some who have paid attention to it, and it's not just black people, but it's all people of color. It's difficult to watch. I really didn't want to. They had live streaming going on with CNN that they posted on Facebook, but I was not trying to watch it and look at it. Yesterday I saw one of my associates, Miss Nicole's View. I don't know if you're familiar with her on YouTube, but she does great videos, and she talked for over 30 minutes about the sentencing, just being prepared for what happened. We had a petition going on against, the district attorney and the judge in this case because there was a lot of conspiracy, and I could say a lot of corruption, just things that it was out of control from the beginning when this whole thing started, that this judge, it was clear, and this district attorney, they were trying to railroad this man. We're talking about jurors making comments, well, we know he's guilty, let's just go home. The judge allowed this juror to stay on after Mesero had made his motion to dismiss the juror. The other thing is, too, there was also another motion to recuse the judge prior to the motion for recusal that was filed a couple of weeks ago by the new attorney. Mesero tried to get this judge thrown out because apparently his wife is a sexual assault counselor, and she either received donations or in the past had received donations from some of the very groups that were out there going after Bill Cosby. And it's the appearance of impropriety. Again, that's the problem. He sat on that motion to recuse. He said, I'm not doing anything. The other thing, too, Ron, you had outbursts from witnesses on the stand during the trial. You had no physical evidence being brought in this case. And the main thing, too, is you had a settlement agreement. So now, and I read today Constance's mother saying that he didn't pay us punitive damage. Well, shit, you weren't the one that was suing him.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here.
Well, how much he paid him? Almost $4 million. He paid her daughter $4 million, right?
I heard she got $4 million.
Yeah, close or $3.8 million or something like that. But her daughter got the money, right?
Right. It was Andrea Constant. And another thing, too, Andrea Constant wasn't no little girl when this happened. This was an adult woman that was going over to this man's house multiple times and calling him, and didn't call the police, go to the police until a year afterwards.
But after the last incident happened, was he on friendly terms with the family? Was he like taking them on a night on a town or something like that?
Yeah, they went to
after the incident, right? Last
after
incident.
the incidents.
Okay.
They went to his concert. They went to the casinos. She gave him Valentine's Day gifts.
Wow.
So you get sexually assaulted. You're gonna give the assaulter a gift. You're gonna keep going back over and over again. You know, and another thing too is none of these women, I'm just being real, they don't have a police report. There's no DNA, there's no toxicology report. There's no rape kit that was performed. And you mean to tell me they get to spew all of that shit?
But how did they really get Cosby? They had to use his own words against him, correct? In an unethical way.
Well, it was unethical. They unsealed the deposition, right?
Mm-hmm.
The deposition was sealed back in 2006.
Okay.
This judge, I don't know the name of the judge, but a federal judge, there's a Freedom of Information Act filed, I think it was by the New York Times or the New York Daily News, I'm not sure, to unseal that deposition. He chooses to unseal it based off the fact that he considered Cosby, to be this moral authority, which Cosby never claimed to be, but nevertheless, people looked at him as, America's favorite father.
Right.
Okay, but he didn't call himself that. We did.
Mm-hmm.
So he unseals this deposition, and when he unseals it, excerpts of it are taken and run through the New York Daily News. They had stuff called serial rapist, articles like that. And none of that was ever proven. See, people make the mistake, too. Another thing, Bill Cosby was not convicted for rape. He was convicted for assault.
Mm-hmm.
Touching. That's not rape. When you say rape is when you penetrate someone, either orally or, anally or vaginally. And some men get raped, too. But,
mm-hmm.
in this case, yeah. But none of that ever happened. He was never convicted of it. Something I learned recently, speaking of which, I spoke to the private investigator in the Cosby case. I was on his show this past Thursday.
Wow.
And I had a chance to talk to him. His name is Scott Ross.
Mm-hmm.
He told me, and I listened to him, that there was a man that was accusing Bill Cosby of sexual assault.
Really?
And, yeah, really. And he was one of the 19 accusers. Now, this is another appealable thing. The judge in the case, in the first trial, he only allowed one what's called prior bad act witness. Now, he allowed one in the first trial, and she said it happened in '96. When she went on the witness stand, that changed to 1990.
Okay.
And Gloria Allred was her attorney.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of her name, and I don't really want to, but that's neither here nor there. So the second trial comes in. The judge jumped the number to 19. So how did he get 19? And 19 included that man.
Mm-hmm.
So then a few weeks later, he jumps it from 19, and it goes down to 5. Again, he never told the defense and gave his reasons why he was choosing that number of people. So how could you put on an adequate defense? You got to research somebody from the 1960s?
Okay.
Their case from the 1960s, 70s, and we're 2018, even from the 80s. This is over 36 years ago.
And also, what about Janice Dickinson? Did she, retract what she said? Did she take back what she said?
Janice Dickinson said that Bill Cosby raped her in 1982 and couldn't believe she was being assaulted by America's favorite father. The only problem with Janice Dickinson is this. The Cosby Show didn't debut until what year?
84, September 20th, 1984.
Actually, to this day, the anniversary was yesterday of the Cosby Show, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, September 20th, 84. But today...
It was September 20th. Okay.
Yeah, so but today, though, is the anniversary of A Different World, which came out in 87. Well, so this is did you see how they do this stuff?
Right.
Mm-hmm, but go ahead.
You see the timeline. So, they play the numbers game. So, Janice Dickinson admitted that she had lied previously. Now, what's interesting about her, she couldn't attest whether Bill Cosby gave her drugs or not, because she thinks she was, I believe she said she thought she was high before that. She may have been.
She had a reputation for being very loose back then.
She is loose.
Right, you know what I'm saying? That she was known for the drugs and the sex. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but it's like a Fetty Arbuckle thing. You remember when Fetty Arbuckle got accused of this white girl down who was was for a very loose woman.
Look, man, these girls go to these parties.
Mm-hmm.
They go to shack up with the man that can get their career jump started.
Right.
And that's what Cosby was. He was to them. Even when you listen to one lady, I believe it's Barbara Bowman.
Okay.
She talked about the assaults. She talked about she was assaulted several times. How many times do you have to get assaulted and maybe realize I can't be around this motherfucker?
Get a restraining order or something. Yeah, that's crazy.
She chose to stay with him. No, it ain't about restraint. She chose. She said no one would believe me. I'm his protege. I chose to stay in that protege. That's the key word. I chose. You tried to get money out of him. Get the fuck out of here. You ain't no victim. You're a concubine.
Yeah,
and I
learned, sound like.
Right, and I learned today, I spoke with someone that actually went to her social, I don't know how true it is,
okay,
but he went to a social media website to look up information for her. This brother is with the New Nation of Islam, and he, on that show, I don't know if you know the leader of the New Nation, he calls himself the Son of Man. He has interviewed.
Is he out of Detroit?
He's out of Mississippi.
Okay, I heard of him before. I heard of him. Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
Right, but it is shown. I think he has associates in Detroit. Okay. But he broadcast, and many of the accusers, and for whatever reason, they tried to get her to come on. She didn't want to come on. But he found out, looking at her social media website, I learned this today, that she was an employee last time of the National Broadcasting Company, NBC. And what did Bill Cosby try to do in the 90s? After NBC. The Cosby Show aired, he tried to buy NBC.
Which is a New York Times article out there, because black folks keep on saying, some black folks, we don't believe that. That's an urban legend. But it's a New York Times article that talks about that from that time period.
It was from September 1992. I actually have the article in my possession, and I'll if you want, I'll send the link to you so people can see it, because they need to see the information if we take the time to read.
Right.
We don't do research.
That's a problem.
We don't read. And it's not just black people. It's the American people in general. You know that only less than, I think, 10% of the population will actually read an article, and rather than just look at the headline.
Right.
People see the headline, they'll go with that.
Or they like to have somebody else tell them what to think. The code of personality, celebrity thing, idolatry.
Right, because we're being it's social engineering. It's like it's the Belko experiment. Did you see that movie?
I heard about it, but I haven't seen it. Yeah.
You all need to go see it.
The Belko experiment?
The Belko experiment.
Okay.
And I don't want to give it away, but basically it's about, I can just give you the synopsis, but people that go into work at this building in, I believe it's in Columbia, for this company, and they have several hours. There's a voice that comes over the intercom, and they have several hours to kill each other, or else all of them are going to die. But it's being monitored by an outside source. So that's the type of thing we've got going on now with social media, with Facebook. This Me Too movement. You know what's going to happen, brother. I don't know if you have a girl, but you're going to have to put cameras in your house.
Oh, well, you got to record the women. You got to record women.
Have to
get a consensual contracts.
We're going to have to notarize everything.
That's right.
You're going to have cameras everywhere. Don't shake. The most you can do is shake a girl's hand now. Don't give them a kiss or a hug. I don't even want to hug my aunt.
Yeah, but what's crazy though? You know what's sad? Like that Oprah Winfrey stuff. This is how messed up we are. That Golden Globes speech, she talking about Reese Taylor, who was gang raped after coming from church by 7 white boys or monsters, and she's trying to match that up with the Me Too movement, where she taking pictures with Harvey Weinstein all lovey-dovey and kissing on him. Or Barack Obama's daughter, his eldest daughter, was one of his interns. And, you think about the Cecil B. DeMille Award, he's the king of the casting couch.
Right. I was about to say that.
So it's insanity, though. You point this stuff out, you the crazy one. You got women bash you online about this. Black women.
She is not the authority. She should not be. Look, I don't hate on Oprah or so forth. I don't really care too much for a lot of the things that she's done. But, I mean, she looked like a hypocrite with that award in her hand when she, was taking pictures with not only with Weinstein, but you got the Cecil B. DeMille Award up there. And you look at Oprah's time when she had her television show, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, Cosby was on that show all the time. He and Oprah were close. In fact, I know that Oprah and Bill Cosby, Janet Jackson, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan gave money to Spike Lee to make Malcolm X.
Right.
If you remember, Warner Brothers actually, they cut funding for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so Spike Lee had to get black actors and actresses to help him finish the rest of the movie. And who did he go to? Bill Cosby. He went to Oprah Winfrey and so forth. But if you look at Oprah's television show, her movie, she always really put down black men, even the hip-hop stars. She never had rappers on her show. She only had Ice Cube on, and Ice Cube and Kanye West, but that was more towards the end.
Yeah, she had Common on her too, right? To try to defend hip-hop at one point.
She had Common on because they brought on Common and I think a couple other, one other rapper.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember they had that this commentator Stanley Crouch. I can't stand him.
Yeah, Stanley Crouch. Yeah.
Because they were basically talking smack. Well, they were talking smack about hip hop and blaming the culture of hip hop for Don Imus's statements when he made that nappy-headed hose comment.
Now, he was repeating one of his co-hosts, nappy-headed hose.
Yeah,
he didn't even say it initially. He repeated one of his co-hosts saying it.
Well, the co-host said those are some hardcore hoes, and he said those are some nappy-headed hoes. So
nappy-headed hoes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, he'll be laughing at them. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, and D.L. Hughley was actually defending Don Imus.
I used to look at Don Imus. You know why I used to look at Don Imus? Because I want to know what white America was really thinking about black people.
Right.
And Don Imus was telling you the stuff they were really thinking. Why you go to work in the morning, you can say this is what white America really think about black people. And he told the truth.
Right. And he got a job.
And he didn't go nowhere. Yeah.
He didn't go nowhere. No, he made that comment and he went to a better network. And, Dick Gregory was actually on his show.
Yeah, he respected a lot of black ministers. He had a lot of respect for, I think, G.E. Patterson, the black bishop of Kojic. But I'm saying, people are complex like that. I don't like to put nobody in a box because people are more complex. I just think that's why this PC movement is really disheartening, or even this Me Too movement. Now, we can't have any type of discussion of the spectrum, on the wheel spectrum thing. Like, what is abuse? What is rape? What is disrespect? We can't even have honest dialogue because people are programmed to hate each other. It's all about divide and conquer right now. With the sexist,
And the black feminist, I had a feminist that was arguing with me about SeREna Williams and trying to tie it with Cosby. I'm like, how did do that?
They love doing that stuff, though.
She was trying to do that to say that I put down SeREna Williams, but I praised Bill Cosby, and I wasn't even talking about fucking Bill Cosby, but she found the time to do that, and
well, SeREna Williams put down herself by, I just know what. I mean, my thing
SeREna Williams never. Let me just say this about SeREna, right quick. SeREna Williams, you remember when she started out? I can remember when she was at her first Grand Slam.
Okay.
When she won her first one in the U.S. Open, and the people were booing her when she came out. But they had a German she was playing against. I can't think of the name, but they were cheering for her. And this is in the United States. Yeah.
So it's still about race.
Of course it's still about race. And
she went for the gender card, though.
Right. That's because she thinks if she pulls a gender card being married to a white man and appearance of the white feminist, they're going to back her up. But you notice they didn't say anything about all of this was going on.
Mm.
They're not going to talk about, they didn't say anything about that cartoon that Australian newspaper wrote where they had SeREna basically, to me, it looked like they had her like King Kong.
But why didn't her man, who was a media guru, supposedly Reddit, who's a supposedly multi-billionaire, why he didn't step in to defend this woman?
Oh, well, I mean, he's not a black man. He's never experienced people. I'm not putting down anybody that's in an interracial relationship, or I'm not putting down people that, are like that. I'm sorry, not like that, but, they're in interracial relationships, or who you love with is who you sleep, and who you sleep with is your business. And,
okay.
That's fine. But at the same time, I do know that there are things, I have family members who are white as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I know at the flip side, there are things that they're not going to be able to relate to with me or experience. They're not going to know the pain of what it's like to be called a nigger, or to, be stopped by the cops unjustifiably. Things of that nature. And I don't think he really he really doesn't understand. Look at Tamara Mowry's husband. The stuff that was going on with him. Everybody's calling him a racist because, he worked with Fox News, but you look at some of his tweets, like, really, dude?
Yeah, but white folks, I'm going to be honest, this is the thing.
Yeah.
As a man, that's your woman. And just put outside the race thing. Like,
right.
Like SeREna, go back to gender roles, and she got with this white man, that's your woman. You supposed to be her protector. You're supposed to advocate. You're supposed to support. You're supposed to protect.
You're supposed to be a man.
Be a man. It has nothing to do with the color of her skin. Like, that's your woman being attacked. You're a media guy. Why not use your platform to counter that narrative and to reclaim the narrative?
Well,
you didn't do anything like that, as far as I know.
Well, who knows how their marriage is going right now?
I don't really. That's their business. She made that choice, so I'm leaving it. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, that's their business. What I'm saying is, as far as like, he's a media guy. If you're a billionaire and you're a media guru, why not use your platform to advocate for your woman? That's your woman, man. She chose you to have a child with. She got her reasons for choosing. But I'm saying, like, if you gonna marry a white man could do something for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna marry a white man that can protect you, because this is a white man's world, right? This is a white man's system.
But he's
a billionaire.
But he's not gonna. He's proven, like, the minute this happened, Ron.
Mm-hmm.
That's timing is everything, as they say.
Yeah.
The minute this stuff was going on, as a husband, if someone did that to my wife, I would have gone off.
Yeah, because you're a man. I'm just saying, like, just be a man. It has nothing to do with race.
Right, I would have gone off as a man. Well, you're absolutely right. But what I'm saying is that things like that, they're still an outsider.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he married this black woman, and they have a child together. He very well could love her, but there are things that he will not understand. Just like, honestly, and people are gonna get mad. That thing's Barack Obama. I've looked at Barack.
Oh my God!
Barack Obama
what a disappointment.
Married a black woman. Yeah, he married a black woman, and then he's the country's first black president. But yet, all the stuff that was going on during his time period, from all these police shootings, what did he have to say about it?
He could be my son. Then I didn't mean like that, or police acted stupidly. I didn't mean it. Let's have a beer.
Right?
Stupid stuff like that, man.
The beer summit.
That was retarded.
The beer summit. I knew it was going downhill. And then when you had the situation with Freddie Gray in Baltimore and how he called those kids thugs.
But what happened the year before, though? I just got through talking to somebody about this. I was in Ferguson. He allowed the governor of Missouri, Jay Nixon, who was a Democrat, to spray those people with illegal chemicals that was outlawed by the Geneva Convention. You got a black attorney general and a so-called black president. Not only you have a black attorney general, but his sister-in-law was Vivian Malone, who helped integrate Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And you have this, they didn't held that governor or the police any types of accountability when it came to spraying those folks with illegal chemicals outlawed by the Geneva Convention.
Wow. The president has the authority. He has the executive authority that if he chose to, let's say, for instance, police departments get federal funding, right? after I think it was the 96 or 97 LA bank robbery that changed everything. Police officers were able to get, departments were able to get all of these tanks and.
Well, they have no business getting. They should have no business getting those tanks.
And they got those things. Obama could say this: you either in your apartheid decisions in your police department and harassing these people because of the color of their skin, well, I'm pulling all your funding. And he never did that. Never threatened.
Do you know who funding he pulled?
Chicago.
Yeah.
Look at Chicago with Rahm Emanuel's ass.
Gangster Emanuel.
And this is his
chief of staff.
This was his former chief of staff.
Yeah.
And he hid this shooting of Laquan McDonald.
Right.
And the people want him out. But they should have never voted for his ass back in. He got reelected.
There's an interest because Chicago is still a black town. I mean, it's a gangster town, but it's a black power town to a certain degree. I'm hearing that they actually are stopping, that they slowing down the construction on the presidential library for Obama because the black activists got involved because it's going to displace black folks on the South Side. Is that true?
I never heard anything about it.
Somebody have to look into that. But what I'm saying is, like with Obama mama's white. He was raised in a white, privileged world. He can't identify with black people who are descendants from enslaved black folk. He can't identify with our story. He was not, in my opinion, a true community organizer. He was a pawn. He was a tool. There's a guy named Harry Lennox.
Bobby Rush kicked his ass.
Yeah, Bobby Rush he had better credentials. I mean, he was a Black Panther and worked with Fred Hampton. And
on top of that, Barack Obama as a state senator, is my understanding, I actually looked this up. Well, he has the distinction of being the only senator in Illinois to vote for what's called partial birth abortions, and he did it four or five times.
Of course.
From what I read. Now, if you know anything, abortion is the number one leading killer of black people in America.
Well, we can't talk about that, though.
We can't talk about why, because the Democrats support it, and we go against it. It sounds like we're Republican.
And then we hate black women, right? We could be another Jasper Williams.
Black women, we don't respect them.
Like Jasper Williams.
Well, that's another story. I think when you do a eulogy, you got to mention the person more than...
He did mention her. I think
he didn't mention her that often.
He mentioned her enough. I'm going to tell you why. Because he mentioned her because AREtha knew what she was getting when she said that guy going to be her eulogist. He was no fool. She knew exactly what type of man he was. I saw... Have you listened to his the eulogy he did for the father?
I didn't listen to the eulogy he did for the father, no.
It's online. They don't have it title correctly.
Well, I can tell you this much. I can tell you this much. If AREtha's family, they knew what they were getting into when they picked him.
Well, she selected him, from my understanding. She was the one that picked him.
So she did? Well, I mean, she knew it when she selected him.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. When we talk about black-on-black crime, and this is the issue that I had with the pastor, you have to, and some of the things he was saying was true.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't care for personally, did I care for the timing of it being at the funeral? No, I didn't. The thing about black-on-black crime, what he mentioned, is that crime is based on proximity. It's not based on color. The reason why more black people harm more black people is because we live next to each other. Same thing why whites kill whites, why Asians kill Asians,
right.
And Hispanics kill Hispanics, and everybody lives closer to each other. Whites kill at 85% or more white people, and blacks kill blacks at the rate of 90%. The reason why is just because of proximity. And when like in New Orleans, where I live in the East,
mm-hmm.
we do have a crime problem. Now, I think if you had to get, let's say, some quick cash, would you drive all the way? I live in New Orleans, so you may not be familiar with these areas, but let me just try and put it the best way I can. Would you try and rob up the nearest liquor store in New Orleans East, and you live in New Orleans East, or would you drive all the way uptown?
Most of it, like you said, it's about convenience.
It's about convenience, exactly. Now, if we want to solve those issues, and we have to address them, the obvious way to solve them is white folks should let us live next to them. That way we'll have no more black-on-black crime.
Yeah, I mean, but that thing, it didn't bother me. 'Cause I already know.
It won't happen.
For what? Yeah, it depends. Like, here's the thing about that. It's like, that didn't really bother me because I know that black on black crime is a myth. Because it's just crime. It's a systemic thing. Crime is organized, it's controlled by the system. Because you don't have all Chicago going up in flames or getting shot up every weekend. You have certain pockets of Chicago. They let you know it's organized crime, but I'm not talking about the gangsters. I'm talking about the police and the law people who set the policy. But what I'm saying with him, what pissed off people, what he said was that he said that a black woman cannot raise a black man, which is true. Which is true. You can raise children. I'm talking about as far as being a man, that takes a rite of passage that a woman is not qualified to teach.
Okay, let me ask you something, because if you've heard this, what did Aretha Franklin's sons think about it?
They had their feminine side answer that. They didn't like it. Hear me out, man. Hear me out.
Aretha was a single black mother, though.
She wasn't. We got to define what. Just like on black crime, that's a mislabel because when people say they single, they act like they just did everything by themselves.
Well,
people had support. She had support some type of way from her family. Not saying she tried to marry several times, didn't work out. But nobody's really. Well, we got this idea about independence that does not exist. Everything is interdependent. We are dependent upon each other. That's why we got to get back to that village concept. That's why you need a rites of passage. You don't have to have a husband to help you raise your boy. You just got to have men around that are accessible to help you raise your child into becoming a man.
One thing Terry Crews said when he was on The View, this was before his Nutgate.
Oh, my God. See, you got to be suspect with Terry Crews, but go ahead. I'm listening.
But Terry Crews talked about, he was on The View, and he talked about how every boy deserves to have a father in his life. And he talked about how, and it was very interesting what he said, how when he wanted to do The Expendables, how Sly Stone came to his defense, and he was like that male figure.
Yeah, but this time Terry Crews a grown ass man though.
Well,
it's like Deion Sanders with Bishop Eddie Long. He taught me how to be a man. You was already a man when you met Bishop Eddie Long. What the hell you mean taught you how to be a man?
Well, what I mean by that, Ron, true. But what I'm saying is that you still have that male figure and guidance in your life. And Aretha Franklin, she was married twice.
Mm-hmm.
She had. Now, very interesting stuff. She was married twice to one guy. If I'm not mistaken, her first husband, they say he was a pimp.
Ted White, yeah.
Right. I also heard, she had Glenn Thurman, who was on A Different World. Actually.
Yeah.
He played Colonel Taylor.
Right. She did the theme song for A Different World, yeah.
Right. And I've heard stories about that church, that pastor. I don't know how true.
Reverend C.L. Franklin.
But I read somewhere Ray Charles talked about how they used to have orgies up there.
So Ray Charles been dead since 2004. So why does it all of a sudden come out now? He been dead. You can't verify that he said that.
Well, apparently he wasn't the only one that said that.
I heard Billy Preston. They've used it, but I'm saying, see, that's the thing. Don't you think it's kind of weird that every time a phenomenal, gifted, and successful black woman has a strong father figure in her life, they always trying to bash the father? Same thing with the Williams sisters. Same thing with, even when let's say Joe Jackson. Same thing is always they want to bash the black's father. Why is that?
Well, they want to bash.
They want to slander these people. Why is that?
They have a problem with straight black males.
What if not only straight black males, but black males who can raise successful black children?
No, but what I'm getting to is straight black males who got bass in their voice. That
too, but if you can raise a successful breed.
If you look at SeREna and Venus's father, you notice Richard, right? You notice that he's not at the game. He still supports him, but they don't really talk about him.
I know he has some health issues though. He had the stroke, whatever he had a couple of years ago.
Well, no, I'm saying you talk really too much about you still don't really talk about him too much. And, the success that he's had, mainstream media doesn't talk about. They always show that coach that's up there who really got SeREna in trouble from the beginning. And even LeVar Ball. Now, LeVar Ball may have a big mouth, and, he's one of those guys you got to pull aside like, hey, keep it. You got to wait till they get their money, man. Just chill out right now.
Yeah.
But LeVar Ball, look, he's raised three kids who, other than that incident in China, they've never had any trouble with the law. They've been in school. They're actually built their own brand. They have a TV show. He's basically doing what the Kardashians get praised for.
Yeah.
And they don't have any talent in that family. But
they were talented, but it's like probably the world's oldest profession, You know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
Well, talent for I'm talking about parental guidance talent.
Well, their mom is, she's a successful mother.
Yeah. I'm calling this. I'm just doing the PG version. I'm not talking about that talent, but yeah, we've seen the videos. I saw. Speaking of which, Kanye West was talking about how Nick Cannon should keep his wife out his mouth, but it's too late.
Nick Cannon had her. He had a mouth on him and everything else. So
it's too late. He said, "Yeah, it's like but that's what your wife is." No, I'm not trying to disrespect him, but
no, it's not disrespect. He disrespected himself. If he chose to be with her, if he chose to be with her after all them guys been in her, he can't get mad. And his children gonna know about this. His children are going to know about this because of social media. Yeah,
right. It's just like kids who, with Bill Cosby now, they're going to remember this Me Too movement and the charges he faced. They're not going to remember Fat Albert and the Cosby Show in a different world like we're going to remember.
That's why he should have invested in, you know what, I got the resources to start my own media thing. I mean, if it's from scratch, he could fast track. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. It is so important. Every black leader we had that was worth something knew the power of controlling their own media platform.
Right, but why did Bob Johnson sell BET?
Because Bob Johnson was a businessman. He wanted to
Bob Johnson. But wait, he is a businessman. But he sold BET to get into the airline industry. Remember?
Yeah, they cheated him. They tricked his ass.
And
or he fooled himself.
Or they told him, "You're not going to do this, and if you keep trying, you know what's going to happen to you."
Yeah, but why be afraid of that though?
I mean, he doesn't want to end up dead.
They don't stop Kennedy from running for office. I'm just saying they don't stop a Kennedy from running for office. They didn't stop Jack Jr. for doing what he did.
Who?
Jack Kennedy Jr., John Kennedy Jr. They didn't stop him. He was constantly trying to pursue the truth. He was trying to expose the powers that be, and they killed him.
Well, the mob actually helped him get in at first. I'm
talking about Daddy. I'm talking about his son. I ain't talking about senior. I ain't talking about Jack Kennedy.
You said John Kennedy Jr.
Yeah. John. Well, he was actually exposing stuff, and they got rid of him.
Yeah, he did. In fact,
I think the Clintons had something. I ain't gonna say allegedly because Hillary. No, he was gonna run for Senate, maybe the same spot that Hillary was going for in 2000. And he probably would have won.
If you go on Google or YouTube, you can look at a video. If it's still up there, it's called. It was by a guy named John Hankey. Mm-hmm. It's called JFK 2, and the other one is called The Assassination of John F. Kennedy Jr. Mm-hmm. And I'll just tell you to look at those two documentaries. I won't say too much, but it was very interesting.
I believe you. I mean, but it's a field. Like with that said, you get back to the Cosby stuff. They had to play dirty to get him. They had to entrap Marion Barry. They couldn't get Al Capone on murder. They had to get him on some income tax bullshit. You know, so this is how the system works. You can't get me on the stuff you're supposed to get me on. You can't do it fairly in an ethical manner. You're going to make up rules as you go along. How you going to change the rules on Cosby? You might not like him as a person, but his rights as a human being were violated. His civil rights, his human rights, his dignity. They destroyed this man's legacy. Obama cut how many hundreds of millions of dollars from HBCUs? This man gave hundreds of millions of dollars to HBCUs. And Obama cut so much. How much Obama cut from HBCUs?
Cosby dropped $20 million to Spelman. Mm-hmm. And everybody and something no black celebrity has ever done. And everybody was hooping and hollering when Beyonce gave $250,000 to different HBCUs.
All right. Can Beyonce even read? You know what I'm saying?
Beyonce and Jay-Z, I believe, are worth a combined amount of 400. I believe it's anywhere between 300 or 500 million dollars
Combined? Okay.
I think. I think if you total, Jay-Z probably has a little bit more, but because he owns those companies. But I heard he's actually doesn't have in his company title. He has mostly whites that work in there.
I heard that too.
Yeah, neither here nor there. Bill Cosby bought colleges that were in trouble. And, Michael Jackson, too, he actually gave a lot of money to HBCUs, I think more than any other black celebrity.
Mm.
And, Michael gave back Little Richard's catalog.
Yeah, I heard that. Okay, so it's been verified.
Yeah. But, that was confirmed. Dick Gregory talked about it, and even Don Lemon, I remember after Michael Jackson died, he told the story. It was true that he did do that.
The problem is Michael Jackson, see, when they do this stuff, they all by themselves out there. They don't have no backup. They don't have no people with them, work with them.
No, and, it is important when you talk about the alternative media or having another outlet, it is important that we have other outlets where we're able to speak and platforms where we're able to get the information out. Why? Because mainstream media is controlled by corporations. And corporations have select interests that they want indoctrinate the American people on. It's the Belko experiment.
Yeah.
I want you to, I want you to follow this. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. It's like the cartoon that you may see on Facebook that's in someone's timeline where people are walking through the hole and falling through, and more people are following. More of the little cartoon characters are still going in the hole. Nobody's getting out of line.
All right.
That's the moral to the story. Yeah, but this man bought colleges. Tomorrow I've heard and read that it may be about the judges looking at anywhere between 22, I believe it's at least 3 years.
Yeah, I saw 3 years too. They were saying, but who really knows though? Who really knows?
Who knows? No, who knows? But I do believe he has a great chance of appealing it. Now, if they're not corrupt, if they're
not corrupt, you say if they're not corrupt.
If they're not corrupt, yeah.
So this haven't proved they were corrupt all this time. The stuff they doing.
Yeah, I just the stuff that I've been seeing. The rules, as you said, that have been changed again. I wouldn't be surprised at anything.
Yeah. They proved to be corrupt, though. I mean, they proved this is the same Pennsylvania where they send all them kids to juvenile court to those private prisons.
Yeah.
Some private juvenile prisons, and they'll take, and the judges will on the take.
Right. This
is still America. This is the same state where they got Mumia Abu Jamal in prison.
Yeah.
So it's already corrupt. I mean, it's like Richard Pryor said, justice is just us.
Right.
And if the people can't rise up to the occasion and counter this BS, then we don't deserve whatever we think we're supposed to have in terms of freedom as a people.
The biggest problem, too, is that I wonder, like I said before, we're raising a nation of coons. We're raising little coons.
I mean, it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
Look, I'm just going to say this. Just I wonder just imagine how Hannibal Buress probably feels right now.
He probably don't care. He probably said, "I'm good. I got my check."
He may not care, but anywhere he goes, I'm just gonna say this: anywhere he goes now, that stigma is gonna be on him.
But he was a pawn too, though. He uses a pawn on the chessboard.
He was used, yeah.
Yeah.
But
he ain't that funny, so he made a deal.
You're gonna be remembered, but just think, this is what's bad. You're gonna be remembered basically all your life for being that comedian that brought down Bill Cosby. That stigma, the media has already designated him that. They've given him movies. You never heard of him before.
Now, he ain't that funny either. I'm saying he's not funny.
You never heard of him before. Well, be that as it may, you never heard of him before this incident happened. In fact, he's come to New Orleans. Several times. I know people that said they've met him and talked to him and so forth. And I'm like, okay, you know. And I've never, you know, I had no interest in, you know, meeting him if he did come. You know, I would be professional, but you know, I just to think about that for a second. He is going to be remembered for the rest of his life, basically marked with the curse of Cain. You know,
trade off. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, he's getting paid money, but you notice he's been quiet recently. He didn't really say anything. People tried to actually get him to speak on it. I think a few months ago, and he was like, "No, I don't want to talk about that."
Well, you're going to deal with, like you said, you're going to deal with that for the rest of your life, though. It's going to be a part of your legacy. Your New York Times obituary, they're going to have that in there.
And don't forget too, he very well could get his wake up call.
Nobody's above it. Yeah,
nobody's above it. The black people have talked about. I listened to Keenan Thomas. He talked about how Bill Cosby told a dirty joke. Man, you in your 40s. You mean to tell me you ain't never heard it? I've heard you know how many dirty jokes I've heard my grandfather say?
Those dudes do.
My father? So what?
I mean, preachers tell dirty jokes.
Preachers tell dirty jokes.
Everybody tells dirty jokes.
Preachers fucking around with boys.
All right. And they still got 1 billion followers in the Vatican. You got 1 billion people in your church. So
yeah,
what they say about people?
Preachers drink wine. Preachers look at porn.
Yeah.
Preachers do. Yeah.
They people.
Teachers are fucking little boys, and they're getting off.
Yeah.
Scot free.
Yeah.
With slaps on the wrist.
Yeah.
They had that female teacher in New York that got a slap on her wrist.
Yeah.
But she can still teach.
But you know the thing they try, it's very disingenuous to me. They try to compare Cosby with that swim instructor, whoever they got at the guy up at Michigan State.
You're talking about Larry Nassar.
Yeah, that guy who was training those gymnasts.
He wasn't a trainer. I believe what it was he was the physician over there at this Michigan State where they had where the gymnasts practiced.
Yeah, but he was like,
And he was a physician. Now, I don't know too much about it, the case.
Well, they gave him he in jail for life, prison for life.
Yeah, I think he had child pornography charges, and then all of a sudden we got to the assaulting of all of these different girls, and they just had hundreds of them speak. Now, I'm not putting down anybody that was assaulted by him, but wow, I mean.
But he's in a position of trust. But think about it, they underage children. He's in a position of trust. He's hiding behind an institution.
Yeah.
You know, this is not like Cosby where he's dealing with grown fucking women.
Right.
And he's consenting adults. They choose to take the Quaaludes and the alcohol and choose to go to the hotel room.
All of that happened. But again, how did we all know that happened? It wasn't a trial.
With Cosby?
With Nassar.
I thought there was a trial. Cause I saw one of the parents was trying to beat his ass.
He wasn't convicted. He wasn't tried in front of a jury. I believe he took a plea deal.
He knew he did something wrong.
We knew he did something, but do I know for a fact he did all of it? I'm just not sure. Something happened. They paid out $500 million. I know that at Michigan State. Right. They reached the settlement.
You think they would pay out $500 million if nothing didn't happen?
No, I think what it is that they probably just wanted it all to go away. Probably something did happen. Again, I don't know.
Look at Penn State, man. With the dude.
Penn State, Sandusky.
Yeah, Sandusky and Paterno knew about it.
Right. Well, Sandusky was the main culprit, but Paterno at least had knowledge of it.
That was his protege. He played for Paterno. He coached under Paterno. He knew this guy's habits. He'd been around him too long.
Right.
You know, and people saw things. What I'm saying is that people hide behind institutions. And you in a position of trust. You got these inner city kids coming to these football camps looking for a quote unquote like Terry Crews, a father figure. You know what I'm saying? And you taking advantage of your authority and your position. So a lot of times these folks ain't gonna come. You know, these are underage children. Your brain ain't fully developed as far as decision making until you're 26 years old, according to science anyway. But what I'm saying is, people want to compare Cosby to this apples and oranges. It's not the same. Cosby case is totally different from that doctor, whatever, so and so, or the Sandusky character.
I don't think these women, those kids either. One difference I will say, those kids didn't wait 40 years.
That's a good thing. If anything.
Yeah, and the thing with Bill, again, I think a lot of black people are still mad over the pound cake speech.
Get over that shit, man.
Right. That's the main reason why I think he's not getting the support that you probably would normally see. That's
not the same folks that mad at Jasper Williams for his speech. That's how it sounds. Black folks too emotional, and the feminine energy needed. Let me tell you something. The feminine energy is out of control in the black community. It needs to be balanced.
It is.
It needs to be balanced. Jesus.
No, but that's true. But what it is with Cosby, I guess it goes back to even the Eddie Murphy skit when Eddie Murphy did Raw and he made fun of Cosby. So I would like to talk to you about some of the things. And, it looked like it's basically him being a hypocrite. People see that, they don't like it, and so they want to go along and say, ha ha. But at the same time,
that's it.
This man has given and done a lot. And maybe the reason why he talked to Eddie Murphy, and I'm glad he did it unlike, Al Sharpton did Eddie Griffin, when Eddie Griffin was telling jokes at the Black Enterprise Golf Extravaganza, and he got pulled off because he was saying nigga. And
really?
Al Sharpton went on television and dogged him, and Eddie Griffin talked about him. He said, if you had a problem with me, you could have pulled me to the table and talked to me man to man. He made fun. Yeah, he talked about it in his comedy sketch.
When was that? How long ago was this incident?
Well, this was about 2007.
Okay, all right.
Right. And, and, even Rodney Dangerfield told Eddie Murphy, hey, kid, you got to watch your language. He was funny, but you got to watch your language just because back in those days, they weren't supposed to curse like that.
They sent Lenny Bruce to jail for stand-up comedy show.
Lenny Bruce got sent to jail for stuff like that, yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, in the 80s, things were changing. You had Richard Pryor before that, and George Carlin, 7 words you can't say.
Mm-hmm.
So by the 80s, Eddie Murphy, I think, still has records.
Eddie Murphy was like one of them goats, man.
He still is one of the goats.
Mm-hmm.
If you got an offer to make for $25 million to make Holy Man versus making Rush Hour, you obviously would take, and all you had to do in Holy Man is just wear a robe and just walk around like he was Jesus. Yeah. You probably would have done Holy Man too.
Mm-hmm.
If I got $20 million just to chill.
So he was the one. He was first out offered Rush Hour.
He was offered Rush Hour before Chris Tucker.
Now that'd been interesting to see how they would. I think it worked out though.
Yeah, well, Eddie Murphy was already big, so did he need that necessarily?
He had 48 hours in Beverly Hills Cop and all that. He's good.
Right, coming to America.
His legacy is cool. Mm-hmm.
Right, but that gave Chris Tucker, bankability. He became a big multi-millionaire. He had them issues with those taxes, but that launched his career. You notice a lot of these black comedians, the young black comedians, they got their start doing Def Comedy Jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now Lathan Daddy was on there too. Stan Lathan, he was one of the producers or directors.
Executive producer.
Yeah.
He was, right. And speaking of that, Bill Cosby was very critical of Def Comedy Jam.
Of course he is. He's consistent. How is he a hypocrite when he's consistent?
Right, right.
He's consistent. Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah, but when he did that, I guess a lot of people, because I know D.L. Hughley talks about it, he was mad, I guess, because Cosby tried to he said, basically coming at him about how critical he was of the stand-up comedy and how he tried to actually get some of these shows pulled off the air. He was critical of Martin. When Martin had his TV show. I thought Martin was funny.
Martin was funny. It was funny.
Martin was funny. One of the funniest shows on TV. Yeah. I think there hasn't been a show like that. But I saw Cosby's point, if you listen to him and what he's saying, is that there is a group of people in Hollywood who think black people should be a certain way or look a certain way and talk a certain way. And he had to deal with that when he was on I Spy.
So he basically saying what Cat Williams said recently. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing changed.
Nothing changed. No. Do you know that even when Mr. T was on the A-Team, they had to use a white stuntman in blackface with an afro?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Even I think it even happened with Bill Cosby on I Spy, and he was outraged about it.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
It just could hire the black man, but they so racist. We don't think we did this. It worked in the birth of a nation. Yeah. But what would be the proper response for the black community post Cosby sentencing?
Okay, well, several things. Main thing, there's a petition online investigating the district attorney and judge that Nicole, has been pushing. I've been pushing. A lot of people in different groups have been pushing it. People should sign that. Mm-hmm. They should look it up. I believe it's Investigate District Attorney Kevin Steele and Judge Stephen O'Neill. They can write they should definitely write letters to the Pennsylvania State Bar, to the Judicial Board in, I said Pennsylvania. Yeah, Pennsylvania State Bar, the Judicial Board of Pennsylvania in that area, just voicing their concerns about what happened, how you felt this was an injustice that took place. Because, again, whether you think he's guilty or not is one thing. It's a whole other thing with the way that the system handled the entire situation. That was the problem that I had. This thing should not have been allowed. So, it really, in all truthfulness, it's not going to change anything until we can get, be a voice and get out there and really push for change and, get out. And we're not unified enough. When we talk about the alternative media, you're going to have a black person who say, oh, that ain't going to work. We ain't going to do that. We ain't going to do that. We're so negative right now. So, and that, there is a crisis in the community. Clearly when I see things like that. So we do have to speak up on it. And the other thing, too, you can also just keep listening to shows like this. Push the truth. Get out there and give the information to the people. Write congressmen, too. Make this a federal matter. The other thing, too, is to get registered to vote, to get on these juries.
Okay, that's one. I think there's a good reason to vote.
That is a good reason to vote. You're more impacted. Remember something. You're more impacted by events that go on locally than things that are federal. Right. So I look at Donald Trump like a hurricane. He's somebody I would get. If I saw a hurricane coming, I'd just get out the way. Mm-hmm. The other thing too is in this trial, and I didn't mention it. The appealable issue he has, another one, is that there weren't enough blacks on the jury, and I believe prosecutor, it was a black female prosecutor, my understanding, she made comments of a nature about, we have enough blacks on the jury, or something along those lines. They had 2 black jurors on that trial. Mm-hmm. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, 2 black jurors, and I don't believe there were a lot of females.
I mean, also the judge did not read the instructions correctly to the jurors, right?
He did not. Okay. He did not. There was what was called the statute of limitations defense that Bill Cosby had, where they could prove that this crime happened in 2003. The key with that is this: if it happened in 2003, then that means that this crime was out of the statute of limitations. It was illegal to bring it. Okay, the judge had to give what's called interrogatories, special interrogatories. Interrogatories are questions that a party is supposed to ask. You usually use them during discovery, but you can use those special interrogatories during you give to the jury and under special instructions, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't do that. He forgot to do that.
So
that's
how can
another
this be
appealable error? That's an appealable error.
So, but basically, what they're doing right now is a circus. This is not even on solid legal grounding.
It's
what
not.
They're doing. So why should it be respected? Why should he respect anything the judge? Why should he even show up if they already undermined the trust?
Why should we show up?
Why should he show up? Why should anybody really think this is valid? Why should people think this is valid?
It's not that it's valid. It isn't valid.
Okay, so
it's well. Let me be clear with that. It's not valid morally, and ethically and legally. In the laws of that, legally in that state, it's valid, but it is highly unethical. Morally, it's depraved.
It's reprehensible.
On top of that, on top of that, that's why I say again, he has a chance of appealing and getting this whole thing overturned. There's a process, unfortunately, that we have to go through when we deal with the justice system, and it has its twists and turns.
Well, let's stop calling it the justice. So let's call it like the legal system.
The legal system.
Right. Because ain't no justice, man. It's a lynch mob mentality.
Right. And like Judge Joe Brown would tell you, when he was on your show, he said there was a lot that this judge, he just lost control of this trial. Allegedly, I even didn't mention this too. I heard that some jurors had book deals.
Of course, it's America. It doesn't surprise me.
They talked about it. And if that was true, guess what that is? That's jury tampering.
Right. But think how many careers the O.J. Simpson trial launched. Everybody can make money but O.J.
Yeah. Very interesting about that, too. Judge Lancito is the only one who didn't write a book.
The last honest man.
I don't know why not. Yeah. He didn't write a book on it.
All right.
I've heard, so it's making a lot of money. The media circus that's out there. You got Gloria Allred there.
Oh, God.
Who's a
Al Sharpton. Look at Gloria Allred.
Yeah, Gloria Allred, basically, I don't think there's a black man who has money she hasn't sued. You remember, she went after Mike Tyson for a rape charge that was bogus back in the early 2000, and Tom Mesereau was Mike Tyson's attorney at the time.
Oh, I didn't know that. Tom Mesereau got interesting resume.
Yeah, and Mesereau, I actually spoke with him, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay.
I did. After the trial, I was on a radio show. I got to talk in and speak with him, and he basically said it was one of them. Of the 30 years I've been practicing, and I've practiced in the Deep South, he said, I've never seen anything like this.
In reference to the Cosby thing, or what?
In reference to the Cosby trial. He said it was the most biased and unethical thing I've ever been a part of. Wow.
But yet the media think this is correct. This is the correct way to resolve.
The media is a joke.
Yeah.
It's not real. They're given a script. It's just like when they had that video. I can't remember exactly. I'm sorry, around my head. It's just something I saw. But you remember this video, you can probably find it, where they had all of these different news anchors basically saying the same line. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I'm not familiar with it, but go ahead.
They were talking, okay, I'd have to find it, but I saw this. Basically, every news anchor from every different city, different state, different network, they were saying the exact, almost 90% of it, the exact same thing. They were saying across the country, same topic and different, but the same lines. Everything was the same. So somebody is putting that out there. Mm-hmm. Somebody's being fed a script.
Wow, man, that is some deep stuff. So, Brother Gavin, you got a great podcast series that you're doing. You got a great YouTube channel. What's the best? How can we find it?
You.
Oh, no, you're doing your thing, man. You're doing your thing. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'll just get out there. My YouTube page is gboot2786. I also have my other page with my name, Gavin Richard. I haven't put a video up there on that one, but I'm usually on this one. And people can hit me up there. You can hit me up also through my Twitter page. You can email me at gavin.grich1@gmail.com. I'll try and respond. But, thank you, Brother Ron, for having me on the show again. It's always a pleasure to just talk to you.
Yeah, they go both ways.
Yeah, man. It's just, don't, like Dick Gregory said, don't be sad. Get the information out there, man, and you're doing it. It is hard, but at the end of the day, the truth is the truth, and it'll come out.
Yeah, thank you. I commend you for what you're doing, not only with your podcast, but with your career as being a social engineer for truth and justice. I mean, as being a lawyer that got to fight those battles. I mean, it's always good to see people like you on the front lines doing your thing, because people don't know there's a cost to pay to get this information out there. You pay a cost. A lot of times the people you try to help, they don't understand you either. So it is what it is. But thank you so much, Brother Gavin. You got anything else you want to add before we go?
One more thing I didn't mention too. You can check out I believe it's Black Press USA. Stacey Brown is the editor of that publication. He had been following the Cosby trial from the beginning, and you can really follow a lot of things he said. And he actually gave me the information about the jury tampering, and also it's apparent that there was some evidence that was not a videotape that he is stating was allegedly doctored. The video was not the video, but the cassette tape that Andrea Constan's mother was recording Cosby, which was another thing, was edited. And if that was played to the jury, and if it was true that they edited that, then that's actually a Brady violation, especially if the defense didn't know about it.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's a lot going on, man. Like I said again, don't be angry, be active, get out there and just hit the ground running. And we talk about forming our own media. I'm actually interested in forming my own television network if I ever can do it.
You can. Bob Johnson could do it. BET started out with just 2 hours on the weekend back in 1980.
Don Cornelius started Soul Train with only, I believe, $600.
And look what it's a cultural institution.
Right, and he never, and Don Cornelius, same thing with Bob Johnson. He got a loan from his family, and he used the money that he had saved up. It was very, in those days, $600 may have been a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's still a lot to us too, because money is hard to come by nowadays with jobs being, diminished the way that they are. But, we just gotta keep on doing it. But yeah, I'm interested in doing that one day. Hopefully, I won't get attacked. But if I do, that means I'm doing something right.
Yeah, and also we know how to back each other up. Like every other group that got power in the system, they don't do it by themselves. They do it in groups. Like every group, like the Irish, Italians, the Jews, they want to get power. They all work. Yeah, the Asians, they work together to build their networks, to invest in businesses, to control institutions like police, fire departments, and unions. This is the blueprint to American power. But I want to ask you, like Monique Presley, what happened to her? Why didn't Cosby still attain her as his lawyer? It's like she was doing a good job, it seems.
Right. Well, I had heard rumors that she may have been cutting deals behind his back. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Exactly. But I've never I know people that know Andrew Wyatt and Ebony Benson, but I was listening to your interview too with Brother Randy Short,
right,
Dr. Randy Short.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was talking about how you don't even have a website for his company or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or his LinkedIn. I think I know his wife has been on Facebook a lot, supporting him in Cosby. But I don't know exactly all the details about that. That's interesting. I tried to look up his information too, but I might be able to get in touch with him. If I do, maybe I'll reach out and make sure he can talk with you too. So if that's possible.
I think anything would be possible. I wouldn't be surprised if one of us could get Camille Cosby on one of these shows.
You know what? He's got to do. I think they should let him do one more special where he just goes off.
Yeah.
Let him go off, yeah, because tomorrow's probably the last time you may see him alive. Sadly.
Mhm.
You know, and Camille, you know, she's very elegant, and she's been on the ball. You know, I really wish she would actually say something too. I know she has, but if she could actually do like an interview and sit down unedited and just.
Well, she should do like one of those live streams, like a Facebook Live or YouTube Live or something like that.
But you know what? She's probably following, you know, dealing with the criminal matter of it. They can't say too much, obviously. They don't want him in trouble, but I mean, he's already being sentenced, so.
I don't know. I mean, he already been past that point, but
Yeah.
All right, brother Gavin. Thank you so much. In the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you badly. Keep on producing and pushing, sir. Until next time.
Until next time, brother. Thank you. I'll look forward to meeting you again.
Ah, definitely.